We are we are at Bottomless Lakes State Park in New Mexico, in Roswell, New Mexico.
Roswell.
We're wrapping up our week here. We're leaving tomorrow morning, and we're doing this video. We're gonna start doing video recaps of our weeks. So hopefully you'll check some more of these out as we continue to do them.
Yeah,
Um,
it was a good week.
it was a great week.
It
This
was a
is a
really good week.
really cool state park.
Yeah.
It is one of those state parks that has a lot of nature to explore. There is, they have these lakes that they call the bottomless lakes. They're more like ponds. They're smaller, but New Mexico doesn't really have a lot of natural lakes. These are formed by caves that collapsed years ago, and it's all groundwater. And you get to explore these sort of big. They almost look like meteor sites where these caves have collapsed and created these little lakes. And one of them is right behind us, Lee Lake. It's the biggest, and you can swim at the beach at Lee Lake in the summer. And we're on our campsite just feet away from it.
Our campsite is
It is a
amazing.
great campsite, huge pull through. We could fit 5 more cars plus the bus on our site, so there's
Maybe
plenty of
not
room
that many,
here.
but we could
I
get
could fit
definitely get
a whole row of them. I could
Okay, all
10,
right.
10.
It was really nice. And I have to say, getting back into this life after being stationary for a couple of months in the Kansas City area, I think that this campground and this location was a really perfect way to sort of get back into the swing of what bus life is all about for us because the views are gorgeous. The campground has everything we need, a playground, great bathhouse, Wi-Fi, great Wi-Fi.
Really great Wi-Fi.
And I think because of that, we were able to kind of make that adjustment. I was a little worried that this week might be tough for our family as we transition back into a different lifestyle as the kids sort of detox from having just available Wi-Fi at any moment and also detox from the amount of sweets they had had over the holiday season. But I think that this ended up being really great. And Roswell was kind of like a fun introduction to New
Yeah,
Mexico
I think
too.
we expected Roswell to be like a kind of place that you'd only want to stop in for a night or two. You see some of the alien stuff and
Yeah.
you move on. We found a lot to do here. This park being one of them, we could spend a few days just exploring the sites of this park, and then we spent a good amount of time today at the
Bitter Lake
Bitter Lake Nature Preserve,
Nature Preserve or
and
Fish and
it's a
Wildlife.
fish and wildlife
Yeah,
site, and it is a bird lover's paradise.
it was
You,
beautiful. I
it's
wish we had kind of discovered it sooner because
yeah,
there are all these trails.
we're gonna have to go back.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go back. We were not dressed for trail hiking today, so we didn't stop. But they have a really great like drivable path around the park that we did do, and
And
it
you
was
stop
awesome.
and you can see a big flock of sandhill cranes, thousands of them. And then you move further down the road to another overlook and you see a big flock of white geese. And then you move further down the road and
Mallards
there's
and
ducks
ducks
and
and
all kinds of
birds,
birds.
and it was fun. I
Yeah,
mean, let's be honest though, the first 20 minutes was not so great. The kids
first 20 minutes was
were
a lot of crying.
the kids were having a really hard time. Like they just weren't having it for the first 20 minutes. And we totally had to pull one of those like mom and dad things where we're like, we're stopping the car. We're not moving this car until everyone's in a better mood. So we stopped the
What's
car.
going?
I don't know, but there's a
The
sheriff.
sheriff is driving
He's,
through the middle of the camp. He just went
he
off road in his car through the middle of the campground.
the man has seen all he needs to see, and
And
he's
he's done. He
leaving.
didn't want to make the
He
little
did
loop.
not want to make the loop.
Just
He
we've
was
had
just
an
coming to see the bus.
we've had an interesting law enforcement experience the other day
We
in
did.
this campground.
We did.
There was a full-on manhunt going through here. The camp host came up to our door. We had seen and there he goes again. Now he's going right through the middle of the. This is so weird. There are roads everywhere.
What is he doing?
We
He's a
had seen
sheriff too.
we had seen lights, flashing police lights in the distance, and then the camp host came over to us and said, "There's somebody on the loose that has escaped the police. He is armed and dangerous. He's a little short guy. If you see him, call the police." so
Sure.
so we
Thanks,
go
bud.
in and we lock the doors and everything, and sure enough, then all kinds of squad cars come rolling through the campground. There's a helicopter with searchlights overhead, and
Yeah, and that was
a few hours later, they all just left. It was nighttime, We don't know if they caught him. We don't know if
I don't
he's
know.
still roaming
Prove it
around
out.
here.
So, when I said earlier, like, this was a really great introduction back into bus life for our family, we like a little bit of drama. So, there you go. We
And
got
I
some
don't think that
drama.
has anything to do with like
No.
this place being dangerous or
Oh, gosh.
anything. It could
No,
have
no, no,
happened
no.
absolutely anywhere.
Anywhere.
So the parents that are listening, my parents and her parents, we're okay.
We're
It's
good.
safe.
We're good.
This is not a dangerous
Do
life.
not
We're
send out the
cool.
cavalry. We're good.
Good.
Speaking of cavalry, speaking of horses, let's just transition into what we saw today.
So we went we went into town into Roswell today,
uh-huh.
and we have a couple days. But today we really got to see a few more of the sites, and we went to the
International
International
UFO Museum and Research Center.
and Research Center. International.
Just let
Big
that
deal.
sit in for a second.
It's kind of a cool, kitschy
No,
little
it's fine.
site. It's like $5 a
Yeah.
person, and it's all these pegboards with news clippings and photographs on the wall. It's really nothing to write home about, but it's fun for $5.
Yeah, you get what you pay for. I think we probably had a little bit of a better time than the kids did because it's like a lot of reading and just you just walk from like
They were bored
section
after a
to
little bit.
section. They lasted about 15 minutes, and then the most exciting thing to them for the 4-year-old was the photo booth, and then for
They
Jack,
love playing in photo booths.
they really do love photo booths. But then Jack sat in front of a vending machine,
Stared inside a vending machine for a while.
he
Wanted
just
juice.
really wanted that juice.
So when we
that was
leave
more
the
interesting.
museum, he kept talking about wanting juice, and we didn't have any juice to give him.
Poor guy.
We leave the museum, we're outside. A rancher on a horse
So cool.
comes trotting across the street and down the sidewalk.
Down the sidewalk.
I mean, it's a normal wide sidewalk.
Me and the horse, right here, like this.
I'm not sure
right
you're supposed
past
to
us.
be on the sidewalk.
You
Probably
know, maybe
probably
not.
horses are supposed to be on the street. But the kids, I mean, this guy like looked like he walked out of the Wild West. I mean, he was clearly a working rancher who had trotted in from miles away, and the kids did pay no attention
Ethan
whatsoever.
walked
Almost got ran over.
right out in front of the horse. Just right on out in front of the horse. And the guy stopped, and I was like, "Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry." I was like, "Ethan, you want to come across the street?" Ethan didn't even like look up that it was a horse. Like, it's so the guy moves on, and Jason and I are like, "Does
What just happened?
is anyone besides the grown-ups fazed by the fact that a man on a horse just trotted down the sidewalk like right past you?" And these kids,
He said, "Y'all have a good day."
Yeah, these Chicago kids are like, whatever. Can I get some juice? Like, that was about it.
I lived on a farm for a while. We had a horse, and I was amazed. And the kids, nothing.
I grew up dreaming that I could own a horse. Like, I wanted a horse so bad. I read those Saddle Club book series. Like, I mean, like they were going out of style, which they did. But but I loved them, and I wanted a horse. And part of me was like, man, that guy is so cool. And then part of me was like, man, that guy is so brave to be riding a horse down the sidewalk in Roswell, New Mexico.
Anyway, we are backing up tomorrow to head down to Carlsbad Caverns. It's only about 80 miles away from here, so it should only take us an hour and a half or so to get there. 2 hours, 3 hours. Just depends on how many cow crates we have to cross.
Well, it depends on how many times we have to stop because people are arguing. Because we have now made that like the official
We're going to stop. We're not going to do anything until people stop arguing.
We're never going
over.
Anywhere.
I will pull this car over. I'll pull this over.
We will be stopped up at the entrance to this park.
We will. We won't even move.
But hopefully next week when we come back for this little video series, we won't still be at this campground waiting for our kids to stop arguing. Hopefully we will be in Carlsbad, and we will have really cool things to tell you about Carlsbad Tavern, and I'll give you a report on the Starbucks drive-thru.
So check us out as we try to continue this video series. And if you want to listen to us on the RV Miles podcast, we talk a little bit more in depth about our journey down here on this week's episode, and we will talk on next week's episode a little bit more about the Roswell area.
Bye.
See you next week.
I'm going this way.
I'm going this way.
Okay.